I adopted my brother's child after he went to prison. Now he's out and wants his son back. Should I fight him? Hey Reddit, I'm honestly struggling with what to do, and I need some outside perspective. My name is John 35, and I adopted my brother Steve's 38 son, Hunter 5, a little over 3 years ago after Steve went to prison. Steve is out now, and he wants Hunter back, but I'm torn about what the right move is. There's a lot of history between my brother and me, and I can't ignore the fact that Hunter has become like a son to me. I've been raising him like my own, and now I'm not sure if I should fight for custody or let my brother take him. Here's the whole story. 3 years ago, Steve made some bad decisions. Growing up, we were pretty close, but Steve always had a rebellious streak. He got into the wrong crowd, started dealing with some sketchy people, and eventually, he got caught up in a serious crime. Without getting too specific, he got into trouble with the law, and it wasn't just a minor offense. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison. At the time, Steve had a 2-year-old son, Hunter, with his ex-girlfriend. She had left them a year before Steve got locked up, and he was raising Hunter on his own. When Steve went to prison, there was nobody left to take care of Hunter. Our parents passed away years ago, and there weren't any other family members who could step in. That's when I made the decision to adopt Hunter. I couldn't bear the thought of him going into the foster system, so I filed for legal guardianship and eventually adopted him. Taking care of a toddler wasn't easy. I was single, living in a small apartment, and trying to balance my job with being a full-time parent. But over time, Hunter and I formed a bond that I never expected. He became my entire world. Watching him grow, teaching him to ride a bike, taking him to his first day of preschool, those are memories that are forever etched in my heart. I've done everything I can to give him a stable, loving home. Now, Steve is out of prison. He's been contacting me non-stop, saying he wants to take back custody of Hunter. He insists that he's changed, that he's a different person now, and that he deserves a chance to raise his son. On one hand, I want to believe that people can change. Steve is my brother, and I don't want to hold his past over his head forever. But on the other hand, I'm scared for Hunter's future. Steve has made so many bad decisions in his life, and I'm not sure if he's ready to be a father again. Steve says he's clean now, that he's staying out of trouble and wants to provide a good life for Hunter. He's found a job, is living with a friend, and claims he's working on getting his life back on track. He's been asking me to give him time with Hunter, to reintroduce him into his son's life. So far, I've allowed a few supervised visits, but I'm hesitant to give him full custody. I'm worried about the kind of environment Hunter might be exposed to if Steve were to take him. Hunter is 5 now, and he knows me as his dad. I've been the one raising him, tucking him in at night, reading him bedtime stories, and being there for every scrutiny and every milestone. He barely remembers Steve. In fact, I'm not sure he even understands who Steve really is at this point. I've tried to explain it in age-appropriate terms, but it's still confusing for him. He calls me daddy, and to him, I am his father. I can't help but feel like giving Hunter back to Steve would be like ripping apart our family. It's not just that I've grown attached to him, though I have. Deeply, it's that I don't know if Steve can provide the kind of stability that Hunter needs. Steve may be clean now, but what happens in 6 months or a year? What if he falls back into his old habits? What if Hunter gets caught in the crossfire of Steve's mistakes? I've consulted with a lawyer, and I've been told that because I legally adopted Hunter, I have full parental rights. Steve would need to go through the courts to try and regain custody, and it's likely to be a long, difficult process for him. But I don't want to put Hunter through a messy custody battle if I can avoid it. He's a sensitive kid, and I'm afraid of how this would affect him emotionally. The thought of a courtroom, lawyers, and having to explain all of this to a judge, it's overwhelming. I've also been thinking about what's best for Hunter in the long run. Does he need to know his biological father? Should I let Steve back into his life, at least in some capacity? Will Hunter resent me when he's older if I don't give Steve a chance to prove himself? These are the questions that keep me up at night. I'm trying to do what's right, but I don't know what that is. Part of me wonders if Steve is just saying the right things because he feels guilty about missing out on Hunter's early years. I want to believe that he's sincere in wanting to be a good father, but I can't shake the feeling that this might be more about him trying to make up for his mistakes than what's actually best for Hunter. My friends have given me mixed advice. Some say I should fight Steve tooth and nail, that I've been the only father Hunter has known, and that uprooting him now would be traumatic. Others say I should at least consider giving Steve a chance to prove himself, to gradually allow him more involvement in Hunter's life. I'm torn. Steve and I have had our differences over the years, but he's still my brother. I don't want to deprive him of a relationship with his son if he's truly changed. At the same time, I've worked so hard to give Hunter the stability that I never had growing up. I don't want to jeopardize that for a situation that might fall apart. I've started documenting everything: texts, visits, phone calls, just in case things do go to court. I don't want to take any chances. I'm prepared to fight for Hunter if I have to, but I'm also open to the possibility that there might be a way to co-parent, or find some middle ground. I just don't know what that looks like, and I'm afraid of making the wrong decision. Steve is pressing harder now. He's talking about taking legal action to get his son back. He's trying to guilt trip me, saying that I'm standing in the way of his relationship with Hunter. I'm not trying to be the villain in this, but I'm genuinely worried about what could happen if Steve regains custody. I don't want to let my guard down and then have Hunter suffer the consequences. So, Reddit, I'm turning to you for advice. What would you do in my shoes? Should I fight to keep Hunter, or should I give Steve a chance to step up and be a father? Can people really change after spending years in prison, or am I fooling myself by even considering it? Should I prioritize Hunter's current stability, or should I give him the chance to know his biological father? Any advice, experiences, or insights would be incredibly helpful. Thanks for reading, and I appreciate any thoughts you have on this tough situation.